How do you plead to those charges? Did you report or not?
They're asking you. They're asking you. They say I can do that with their eyes closed. You hear me? I don't know what bed bugs biting. So it's like an internal, inside thing. You hear me? I'm not. You know what I'm saying? The animal bit their tongue off or something. You hear me?
But they're asking if you went to your parole officer.
So, I got children. You hear me? I'm standing. You hear me?
I'm
Your
gonna have-
observation, is he gonna be able to answer on his own for us?
Okay, buckle up. It's another Louisiana revocation hearing. Now, this man, he's got a nasty jacket. You see, in 2014, he was locked up for a home invasion. He got out of prison in 2016, and guess what he did? Another home invasion with a knife and an attempted murder charge. Then, while out on parole, he's caught up again for another attempted murder charge, or at least accused of stabbing a man. And now we find ourselves back here at a parole revocation hearing. Let's dive in.
And we have Mr. Bellard. Good morning, sir. Mr. Bellard, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm breathing. You hear me?
Okay, well, tell me your name and DOC number.
What it was?
What's your,
AJ Ferguson.
say it again?
AJ Ferguson. Your real name?
Your real name. Deandre?
Donald Trump.
All right. Well, let me see. I think you have counsel with you this morning. Let me ask counsel to introduce himself. Mr. Hall, would you enter your name in the record, please?
Good morning. My name is Maurice Hall, and I am representing Mr. Deandre B DOC.
Okay, and we have Mr. Bellard's mother, Monica Shillo, has joined us by Zoom also, and the probation and parole officer, Jennifer Ortega, has joined us as well, and we'll hear from her also. So, Mr. Hall, I'm gonna, this case was assigned to Mr. Vara, and I understand we're gonna have a communication problem with Mr. Bellard, so he's gonna read the allegation and ask for a plea of guilty or not guilty, and if your client can't do it, would you enter the plea on his behalf?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bellard?
All right, alleged that you have violated the conditions of your parole in the following manner. Number 2, that you failed to report for a monthly office visit on February 2024, March 2024, April 2024, May 2024, June 2024, July, August, September, October, November, and December of 2024. How do you plead to that violation? Mr. Hall?
I don't know what year that was. Dude.
Mr. Bellard, how do you plead to those charges? Did you report or not?
They're asking you. They're asking you. They say I can do that with their eyes closed. You hear me? I don't know what bed bugs biting. So it's like an internal, inside thing. You hear me? I'm not. You know what I'm saying? The animal bit their tongue off or something. You hear me?
But they're asking if you went to your parole officer.
So, I got children. You hear me? I'm standing. You hear me?
Your
I'm
observation, is he gonna be able to answer on his own for us?
I don't think so, sir.
No, I ain't no character at all. You know, for myself speaking on, you know, my behalf. You hear me? I'm saying.
All right, we're gonna have to go to Mr. Hall for entering the plea of guilty or not guilty on behalf of it.
I'm gonna have to
provide.
not guilty on
provide. Get guarding, you hear me? Our colonial pen on Marty Park, you hear me? And, you know, get it done, you hear me? So, you know, by everybody, you know what I'm saying? We have an understanding, you know, about everybody, you know, with their family, you heard me?
And Ms. Ballard, let us speak,
Just stuff like
okay? Let us talk.
I'm gonna have to deny the charges on his behalf.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to number 4, that you failed to refrain from criminal activity by being in possession of methamphetamine and opiates on or about February 12, 2024, due to a positive drug screen. Mr. Bellard, did you test positive for drugs in 2024 on February? Mr. Hall?
We're gonna have to plead not guilty to the charges.
What's happening here? I don't know.
All right.
Condition.
That you failed to refrain from criminal activity by being in possession of methamphetamine. Like, that's the same type of violation. So, Mr. Hall?
We're gonna also plead not guilty as well.
All right.
Wow,
Also, number 4,
man.
you failed to refrain from criminal activity by committing aggravated second-degree battery on or about January 28, 2025, and you were arrested by the Mandoo Police Department for that offense. Do you remember that offense?
That's really like what I'm saying, but the animal might be at like on the body. Y'all know how to make some sense. Y'all function. It's a program and stuff.
All right, Mr. Hall.
We're gonna plead not guilty to those charges as well.
All right.
For lack of his
Failed to refrain from possessing dangerous weapons in on or about 128-25. When you committed aggravated second-degree battery, you were in possession of a knife that you used to stab Mr. Bourgeois. How do you plead to?
I'm not.
We're gonna
Mr.
plead
Hall?
not guilty to the charges.
Number 8, that you failed to complete your mental health and substance abuse treatment in order to do so by the parole officer.
Past 10 full body.
Hall?
We're gonna plead not guilty to those charges as well.
No, I'm not looking at me at a mirror, you heard me?
Number 9, you failed to allow your parole officer to visit you at your residence in or about 8/14/24 by shutting the door and refusing to open it during the home visit.
We're gonna deny those. We're gonna plead not guilty to those charges as well.
And you fail to pay a monthly fee as directed and are currently $567 in arrears on that. How's it plead to that one?
Mr. Ballard, how do you plead to not paying your fees?
Shit, far. Far, layout, far. The tower.
We're gonna plead not guilty to the charges.
Thank you. All right. So he's pled not guilty to all the violations. We'll start back again with the failing to report for February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December of 2024. Officer Oracle, can you tell us a little bit about his reporting habits?
He's still muted.
Hello, good morning.
Can you tell us a little bit about his reporting habits in reference to violation number 2?
No, he never reported. Whenever I needed to see him, he wouldn't report, and I'd end up having to go to his house and just try seeing him at his house.
Mr. Hall, do you want to make any statement regarding his report?
No, sir. I don't have any questions.
I know they had done something with Jesus' name, you heard me? But it was positive, you heard me? And they got to touch.
Number alleges that you engaged in criminal activity
correct behavior.
And that you failed to refrain from criminal activity by using and possessing methamphetamine and opiates. And on 2/12/24, you had a positive drug screen. And
But then your hormone stuff going on, that's what they kept on.
also had a criminal activity when you committed aggravated second-degree battery on 1/28 in Mamou.
Justified as homosexual. man.
Nigga, can you tell us anything about the drug screen and the battery?
No justice. Dun, dun.
Agent Ortega, can you hear us?
Jerry Springer.
Yes, sir. Yes, the date of the criminal activity for the positive drug screen was actually on 2/8/2024. And I have, his signed admission that he did use, methamphetamines and alcohol on or about 2/2/2024. He signed it admitting, and then he signed at the bottom, indicating he was aware of his positive drug screen.
All right, and what did he have to say about the criminal activity with the second-degree battery?
I was on medical leave at the time and haven't spoken with him in regards to that. He was already transferred by the time I returned.
Okay, but we do have an affidavit from the Evangeline Parish that says he was acting erratically in the store, and when Mr. Bourgeois, the owner of the store, approached him and asked him to leave, he became violent and stabbed Mr. Bourgeois before leaving.
They doing that type of use.
Mr. Hall, do you have anything about that?
No, sir.
violence?
No, sir. No, sir.
Number 5, that you not having in possession or control any firearms or dangerous weapons. According to the affidavit filed by the Evangeline Parish, that he was in possession of a knife when he stabbed Mr. Bourgeois. Mr. Hall, you have anything to say about it?
No, sir.
Issue number 8, that he would submit himself to available medical, mental health, and substance abuse evaluation or treatment, or both, when ordered to do so by the parole officer. He failed to keep appointments that were scheduled by the parole officer. Officer Ortega, do you have any information regarding his failure to attend the treatment?
Yes, sir. He was referred on multiple occasions, and he would go to the inpatient, and then when he'd get out, he was ordered to attend the IOP, which was 4 days a week, and they'd pick him up at his residence, they'd feed him lunch, and then they'd bring him home. And he'd attend maybe 1 or 2 times, and then he would stop taking his medicine. At one point, his mom is very into his mental health and trying to keep it. She was giving him his meds in the morning, but then he would stop taking his meds and he would stop attending any classes. And then that's when he would get back, on the drug use and just not cooperating with anybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, not only a mature thing of y'all,
Mr. Hall, do you have any information regarding his failure to attend the mental health and substance abuse class?
No, sir. I don't.
All right, number 9 says that you failed to allow your parole officer to visit you at your residence in on or about 8/14/2024. You shut the door on the parole officer and would not let him in or talk to him.
Yeah, Caleb and John kept going around looking at the people.
Mr. Ortega, do you have some information? Was that you he shut the door on?
Yes, sir. This was actually the second time. However, his mom was with me the first time and she unlocked the door and he ran through the house and we actually got him through the back door. But this time his mom was not home. And when I walked up, there was a slight crack in the door and he was laying on the sofa. And I said, "Hey, it's your PO." And he turned and he looked at me, and then he just grabbed the door and shut it before I could even prop it open. And he looked through the window, then he shut the blinds, and he never would answer the door after that.
All right. Mr. Hall, do you have any information to add for that one? That
No,
one.
sir, I don't.
Number 10, that you failed to pay monthly supervision fees and are in arrears $567. Mr. Ortega, do you have any information regarding paying fees?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't remember him paying any fees. And according to my Cajun screen, he only paid $633 one time.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Hall, y'all already admitted to that one, so
Yes.
really irrelevant at that point.
Oh, my cowboy on Hill bed.
I don't have any questions. No, Paul, do you want to present some information before we make a vote?
No, sir.
All right. We
you don't
still
have
need to talk to some other people. We have Miss Monica Shillo, his mother, who would like to speak, and then we'll come back to Mr. Paul.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. My name is Monica Shiloh. I'm Deandre's mom. I wasn't aware till a few minutes ago about the hearing. Deandre, when he's on his meds, he's pretty normal, but without the meds, he's really not himself. I've been trying for months when he was going inpatient to get him long term, because I seen that he just wasn't himself anymore, and I couldn't bring him back, and I couldn't get him to take his meds. He got PEC'd several times into a place called New Horizons in Mamou. I spoke to a doctor once there before, and he said that even when Deandre's on the meds, he's okay, but he needed long-term mental health, and there was a waiting list. And he said, unfortunately, with the state, it would probably be a while before he could get in, but he did acknowledge that he did need help. Even in the 28-day program, the director called me and the counselor and said that, Deandre, whenever you speak to anybody about him, always acknowledge that, yes, he is on drugs, but that's not the main issue. The main issue is his mental health. Also the drugs, but first he needs attention with the mental health. And then I seen him just going down a path that just wasn't good. He hasn't communicated with me since he's been incarcerated or prior to him being incarcerated. He lives next door. We would check on him every day. He wouldn't open the door. And sometimes we wouldn't want to go in because we didn't really know what state that he would be in, but we knew he needed help, and that by some time something like this or something else could happen. When his probation, when Miss Jennifer was out, when he wasn't incarcerated in Mamou, the supervisor did go and speak to Deandre about his probation and his parole, but stated that they could not continue. They couldn't get anything out of him because he wasn't understanding what they were saying. And they said they wrote it all down. It was sent into the probation and parole that they were unable to communicate with him because he wasn't understanding. And when I spoke to the supervisor, he said, yes, Deandre does need some help. So when Mamou Police Department took him to the hospital to get him back on his meds, but when Dr. John Field in Mamou saw him, he said, this man needs to be in a mental hospital. And
Hey,
so they
Charlotte,
transferred him.
we hear what you're saying. We appreciate everything you've done. We're gonna hear from Dr. Fleming, who has firsthand knowledge of how he's doing now, and then I hope we can offer him some help.
Okay,
Dr. Fleming,
thank you.
give us some information.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, can you just give us some information? How long has he been there? And is he being compliant with his treatment and is he on his medication?
So Mr. Bellard, does carry a diagnosis of schizophrenia and is currently prescribed medication, which he oftentimes does not take. He lives in our Hunt Special Unit, which is the most acute area of the prison, so that he can see his social worker or see a social worker every day making rounds. He meets with them very frequently for one-to-one appointments, but he often won't come. He won't come out of his area to come to the appointments. So we often had to go to him at the cell, and he just he'll interact, but he's not able to make a whole lot of sense out of his treatment at this
I
time.
know that with a trainer.
But he's not, at this time, not compliant with his
Not much,
medication
yeah,
regimen
not
or his
much.
treatment plan.
And how long has he been at Hunt?
Yeah.
He's been here since March.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Hall, would you like to make a closing statement before we take the vote?
I like to ask the doctor, when he does take his medication, how does he function at Hunt's when he's taking his medication?
So when he had been here previously and we were actually able to get him to take his medication previously, and he was at that time able to live in the dormitory. It's a mental health supported dormitory, but it's still an open dormitory. So when he takes his medication, he does function considerably better and is able to live in a supported housing environment.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
All right. I don't see any other questions, so I believe we're ready to take a vote on Mr. Ballard's situation. Mr. Byron?
Well, we find that he is guilty of all the violations listed above based on his testimony of the probation and parole officer, and the affidavit filed by the Evangeline Parish District Attorney. So we find that he's guilty of all those violations, and based on that fact, I'm going to vote to revoke his parole and order him to complete mental health treatment at Hunt while he's there.
Mrs. Lee,
Read the non-compliant probation.
my vote today also is to revoke based on the violations. And quite frankly, I think he's probably at the best place that can care for him at this time. So today, Mr. Ballard's parole is being revoked.
Maybe I missed it, but I don't know where they didn't bring up the fact that he stabbed someone. Like, why is he not sitting waiting for trial or sentencing on a new attempted murder charge? I don't know. Like, did the DA totally drop that? I mean, look, let's go back.
But we do have an affidavit from the Evangeline Parish that says he was acting erratically in the store, and when Mr. Bourgeois, the owner of the store, approached him and asked him to leave, he became violent and stabbed Mr. Bourgeois before leaving.
I mean, that's an affidavit saying that he stabbed someone. I'm just confused. I like this part when Blue totally passed me, because, like, what are you even having a revocation hearing for if you would have a new attempted murder charge? I don't know. There's sometimes, but anyways, I mean, clearly he's not all there, and they're not saying he's malingering. He's refusing to take medication, and he's got an issue. But it's just weird, and they say, hey, bring back insane asylums, and I don't know enough about the subject, the pros and cons, and is it better just to have him in a ward here in prison that can handle him, and that's why he's here for a revocation hearing instead of in a jail. But I mean, let me just, I don't know how he keeps getting away with these violent crimes. So in 2014, this is 2016, but in 2014, I'm just not going to share the link with you because it has an address, but it said that they had arrested him for a home invasion. 2 years later, In 2016, sorry about that. On June 18, 2016, the police department responded to a home invasion that resulted in the stabbing of a female in front of her 2 children. According to the MPD, the Andre 21 went to Mandoo residence requesting to use the homeowner's phone. Police Chief Brent Zachary said that Bellard pulled a knife out and forced his way into the home. While in the house, Zachary said Bellard and the victim got into a confrontation over a gun that the victim had. During the confrontation, Bellard stabbed the victim in her upper thigh and in the side of her torso, so home invasion with a knife and now attempted murder. When Corporal Ethan Johns and Officer Deandre DOC, I don't know, on this arrived on the scene, they were able to remove the victim from the home before working to apprehend Bellard, who had barricaded himself in one of the house's rooms. According to Zachary, Bellard busted out a window in front of the house, which is how he exited the home. Bellard then led officers on a foot pursuit, which he came to an end near the 500 block. Zachary and Assistant Police Chief Felice Selou arrested Bellard, and they were also able to recover the knife used in the stabbing, as well as $1,000 that he'd stolen from the victim. Bellard was charged with attempted first-degree murder, home invasion, criminal damage to property, 2 counts of aggravated assault. I mean, enough time to lock him away for life. Yet somehow, even though this was his second home invasion in 4 years, he gets out on parole. And when out on parole now, he stabs someone again. This is the thing. He must have some good lawyers or something blaming it on mental, illness, because there's no way that he gets out after 2 home invasions and an attempted murder so quickly. And it wasn't a parole hearing because we would have covered it. I don't know the exact details. It's weird. There's not a lot of information on this case. This was all that we could find. And thank you, Sir Richard, Lady Holly. It's weird because in Louisiana, you get these sentences, people are locked up for life, forever for attempted murder. And then you have this case where he's out in a few years. And this is the thing. You mental illness, whatnot, you're going to go out and you're going to then go and do methed up things. You're just a danger. Like, it's a clear danger to society. You can't let this man out ever. If he's not going to take the medication he needs and he's going to do the opposite and take methed up stuff, I mean, God, this is just terrifying. He stabbed 2 people. What world are we living in? This is weird. I mean, it's just weird. What else am I supposed to do with this? You saw his parole officer. We've seen her before. We've seen her a handful of times. There are like 2 parole officers that we have seen, I think, in Louisiana, and the rest have never shown an appearance. She looks tired. She looked relieved to have him no longer as a client. Can you imagine? These parole officers, they wear a vest, they carry a gun, they got, oftentimes even a police cruiser type vehicle. I always say it's the underpaid, overworked, underappreciated job. It's like, oh, you're a parole officer. No one says, oh, thank you for what you do. It's just, it doesn't fall under the category of the fireman or the policewoman or it just doesn't. It's like, parole officer? Okay. Like, you wouldn't even think about it. Man, it's just stressful. I don't know why anybody would want to do it. It's got to be probably one of the most least rewarding occupations. But I don't know. Some people do it. What do they make? Let me go check on Grok. And for all you don't know, I do have an account on Grok on Twitter, Mandoo 9453179. I also have an Instagram account with like 30,000 followers. It really took off. If y'all aren't following me, give me a follow. I post daily. So yeah, what is the average salary of a Louisiana probation parole officer? let's see. The average salary is reported at $65,000 a year. As of July 2025, the ranges from 53 to 76. I'm sure some of them are thinking about that ICE bonus, huh? But anyways, talking about ICE bonuses, I wonder if this man has somehow gotten his hands on some of that in the institution. I'm only speculating on a situation like this, as Dr. Grande says. Of course. I mean, like, who knows? I mean, some people are just naturally, just. But God, I feel bad. I feel, it's like, oh, the waking up with that hangover. That's the kind of look. That's the kind of vibes I'm getting right here. But here's a man facing revocation too, also with the whatnots and this excuse or that excuse. So he's got an advocate, he's got an attorney. Let's see how it works out for him.
We are at Orleans Justice Center. Please state your name and DOC number for the record. You're on mute.
Danny Ryan DeSalle, 546483.
Okay, Mr. DeSalle, today we're here for your revocation hearing. Is there anybody in the room with you?
No, sir.
Okay, my name is Pete Freeman. I'll be the acting chair. Mr. Ledoux is to my left and Mr. Byron to my right. They will be the board members today. Do you have a questionnaire with you that was filled out? Your paperwork?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Did you sign and state and realize you're not eligible for appointed counsel?
I signed.
But you do have a public defender here.
Oh, yes, sir. I got my public defender, yes.
Okay. Okay, it says you violated condition number 4 on 3/12/25. You were arrested by the New Orleans Police Department and charged with aggravated battery by cutting under item C-10922-25 on 5/5/25. The charge of aggravated battery of cutting was refused. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty.
Okay. All right. Condition number 5, it's determined that you were in possession of a dangerous weapon as evidenced by your arrest by the New Orleans Police Department, where you were charged with aggravated battery by cutting under item number C-10922-25. On 5/5/25, the charge of aggravated battery by cutting was refused. How do you plead to that charge?
Not guilty.
Okay. Number 6, you have never provided proof of employment. How you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
Okay. You failed to provide a valid address of record. Contact could not be made with you and your residence could not be verified, thereby preventing contact from probation and parole. Your whereabouts were unknown. A warrant was issued for your arrest on 2/23/25 for absconding supervision. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty with a statement?
Guilty with a statement? Yes.
Absolutely.
And the last charge is that you were $315 behind on your fees. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
Okay, let's hear from the people that are here to speak on your behalf, and then we'll let Ms. Ledoux do the interview. Okay, Miss Erica Fuse. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Miss Fuse.
It's okay.
Okay, what do you have to tell us about Mr. DeSalle?
Good morning. My name is Erica Fuste, and I am a social work intern with the Orleans Public Defenders. I'm speaking today on behalf of my client, Danny DeSalle. Since his arrest for his refused charge out of Orleans Parish, Mr. DeSalle and I have been meeting on a bi-weekly basis. In each visit, Mr. DeSalle has remained insightful, cooperative, and reflective. Since his release from DOC custody, Mr. DeSalle has shown a demonstrated commitment to seeking welfare services, particularly housing services, to aid in his reentry and to address his chronic homelessness, substance use, and unaddressed post-traumatic symptoms. Mr. DeSalle is seeking to affiliate himself with a structured, positive, and faith-based mentors and institutions to address his long-term goals, a life of sobriety, and stable housing. Mr. DeSalle has already been accepted into Broken Wings Recovery Center in Bastrop, Louisiana, which is a Christian and Alcoholics Anonymous-based drug and alcohol residential treatment rehabilitation facility. Broken Wings provides peer support services, medication management, and intensive therapy for clients as they begin to rebuild healthy relationships and heal from the damage that is caused by addiction. If released back onto parole, Mr. DeSalle would participate in individual and group counseling and be reintroduced to his faith and 12-step community. Upon successful completion of residential treatment, Mr. DeSalle will work with his inpatient team to create an effective discharge plan that includes placement into stable, safe, and sober housing in Louisiana. With the help of his discharge team, he's going to have access to resources that will assist him as he utilizes his 12-step and faith-based support network. Moreover, his team at Broken Wings Recovery Center will ensure that he is connected to case managers to support him in his search for employment and maintenance of his social benefits. Through my work with Mr. DeSalle, it's become clear that he is committed to long-term lifestyle changes, included his stated goals of sober living, housing security, and counseling. I offer this statement today in the hope that it can provide context for Mr. DeSalle's current situation and be taken into consideration when deciding whether to release him back onto parole. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fuse.
I got a question.
Okay, he has a question for you, Mr.
When you said you've been meeting with him bi-weekly since his arrest, all the way a year and a half ago?
Since
How long have you been bi-weekly meeting with him personally?
this most recent arrest for the charge that was refused, for which he was arrested, I believe, in March. I've been going to the jail, Orleans Justice Center, about once a week, every 2 weeks, to visit him and work through what his plans are post-release.
No other question? Okay, thanks again. Next, we're going to hear from Rebecca Goldstein, Orleans Public Defender.
Good morning. Thank you for your time today. My name is Rebecca Goldstein, and I represented Danny DeSalle on his now refused charge out of Orleans Parish. Mr. DeSalle is a 38-year-old United States Navy veteran. In 2005, at 18 years old, he joined the Navy after being inspired by his grandfather's own service. While serving, Mr. DeSalle spent most of his time on a crowded submarine for months at a time. And once he was discharged and completed service in 2007, he was formally diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Mr. DeSalle returned to Louisiana to live with his grandmother. However, unfortunately, without the necessary community support at the time to manage his PTSD, he soon turned to drugs to help him. Mr. DeSalle's battle with addiction led to chronic homelessness and incarceration. Despite these challenges that Mr. DeSalle has faced, he is committed to his recovery, as the board has just heard. He's eager for the chance to engage with meaningful support through the reentry plan we've created so that he can maintain sobriety, obtain stable housing and employment, and be a contributing member to his society. Mr. DeSalle is before the board today because he is accused of violating conditions of parole, specifically for engaging in criminal activity, absconding supervision, and failing to pay parole fees. First, I'd like to address the new criminal activity allegations and possession of dangerous substance. As the board knows, Mr. DeSalle was arrested on March 12th this year on one count of aggravated battery, and on May 5th, that charge was refused. Mr. DeSalle has no other criminal charge. That charge was refused because Mr. DeSalle did not commit an aggravated battery. On March 12th, a homeless man named James Gum was stabbed. Mr. Gum had told law enforcement that he was stabbed by a man that he knew by the name of Jericho. Mr. DeSalle was arrested in that area later that day, when officers mistakenly thought he could be Jericho. He is not. Mr. Gum had never identified Mr. DeSalle as the man that stabbed him. And the stabbed victim, Mr. Gum, has signed an affidavit attached to the packet that was sent to the parole board stating that Danny DeSalle was not the man who stabbed him on March 12th, nor was he the man accompanying that offender. And that's Exhibit 1. Mr. Gum further stated that he does not know Danny DeSalle to go by the nickname Jericho, and that Danny DeSalle saw him bleeding after he was stabbed and went to find him. Attached to the packet as Exhibit 7 is also a police report with an arrest warrant for a man named Jericho Miller, who was later arrested, and this arrest warrant is for an incident that happened at the jail, where Jericho Miller is accused of stabbing James Gum in the Orleans Justice Center when they were further indicating that Danny DeSalle is not Jericho and is not the man that was stabbing James Gum on March 12th or which is why it was charged. Regarding the violations that Mr. DeSalle absconded supervision and failed to make payments, as you've heard, Mr. DeSalle acknowledges his mistakes. He takes full accountability for not properly checking in with his parole officer. While he was homeless for the entire 4 months between November and February of 2024, despite seeking out various shelters, Mr. DeSalle's lack of permanent housing made maintaining a reliable routine and consistent check-in difficult. However, he acknowledges that despite how difficult his situation was, he needed to be more communicative with his parole officer, and that he needs to explain where and how he's seeking services so that his parole officer can understand. While Mr. DeSalle's lack of housing and criminal records have made it challenging for him to find employment, he knows that he needed to be attempting to make payments regardless and keeping his parole officer up to date on those attempts. If released back onto parole, Mr. DeSalle will receive employment assistance, as the board has heard, as well as training through Broken Wings, as well as assistance from our office, ensuring his ability to make all future payments on his parole. Finally, since his arrest on the now refused charge, Mr. DeSalle has been working with social work intern Erica Tuesday, as the board has heard. Together, they've created a tailored re-entry plan that's outlined in the packet, and that's been addressed today, should Mr. DeSalle be released back on parole. Most notably, this includes drug treatment and long-term housing and employment support. With the proper support system for the first time in his life, Mr. DeSalle is hopeful to begin a new chapter. He has learned from his mistakes and is dedicated to his recovery and wants nothing more than to have a meaningful chance to be a productive member of his community. We respectfully ask that the board use its discretion today to show Mr. DeSalle mercy. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it, Ms. Posting. Okay, as I said, your case has been assigned to Ms. Ledoux, so she'll go over and ask you questions about your violation.
Yes, sir.
Mr. DeSalle, you spent 2 years in the Navy. How were you discharged? Honorably or?
Other than honorable for drug, I had to fail the drug screening. A drug screening, yes, ma'am. Other than honorable.
Other than honorable.
Yes,
Okay. So, in fact, you have struggled with substance abuse since 2007, it sounds like.
Yes, when I joined the Navy. I joined the Navy right out of high school. So I was 18, I was pretty young, yes, ma'am. Since 07.
So have you ever, I mean, you're a fourth offender. Have you ever had substance abuse treatment while you were incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you go? What class or where did you go for that?
Oh, they sent me to Stephen Hall. I did 6 months there. And I've been struggling lately here, not so much with the drug abuse, with just being homeless. As far as getting out, I just did 3.5 years, and that's why I was moving from homeless shelter to homeless shelter, and people kept stealing my cell phone and stuff like that. I just been trying to find a permanent job to where I could find some place to live. That's been my main struggle since I've gotten out of prison for that 4 years I did. The incarceration I just did. I've only been out for 4 months, and I've been trying. It haven't been so much the drugs as it has been the homelessness. Just trying to find a place to live.
So in your understanding, tell me about Broken Wings. What is this program about? And
It's a program that'll help me for one time in my life, put me in the right direction. It's kind of like I lost direction. I mean, I've changed my life. I don't want to live a criminal life. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison. I want to have help being a successful person in society. I just want to get a little job and have my own place to live by myself. And for the first time in my life, that's what I want.
okay, how long is Broken Wings? How long do you anticipate being there?
Well, I think it's a 3-month program or so, and then it's gonna find me permanent housing and find me a place to live.
What if 3 months is not enough?
I believe it'll put me in the right direction. I had just did 4 years. I need help finding a job. I need help finding a job where I can go to work. And so I can go, so I can find my own place to live. Plus I've been going to class here while I've been in jail, and they put me on a medicine to keep me from doing drugs in this jail, in this program.
Since you've been in this time, you've been taking some classes?
I've been going to a MAT program where they also put me on medication. I've been in here for over 3 months already. So I've had 3 months here, and I've had 3 months, and I've been going to the MAT program.
Okay, perhaps I need to address this issue with Ms. Fusay. Ms. Fusay, I'm not sure the 3-month program is going to meet his need. Tell me a little bit about this aftercare, because
Yes. So Broken Wings, first and foremost, is an inpatient substance use treatment facility, right? So should Mr. DeSalle be released, Broken Wings coordinates his transportation from the Orleans Justice Center. They pick him up and directly bring him to Broken Wings. There, he begins a formal process of getting off the medication where he needs, the medication that he's currently on that he needs to remain sober. He's going to work through therapists, and also with medical professionals to fully get him off the need for any treatment to address his substance use. Upon successful completion of the inpatient program, Broken Wings, the caseworkers there, it doesn't end at 3 months, right? If he is committed to his sobriety, they work with him to find him employment training, sober living, housing options, whether that's on their facility, it's in Bastrop, Louisiana, or if he wishes to return to his hometown, or if he wishes to return to New Orleans, they have caseworkers that they bring him back, and they still set him up with employment training. They still set him up with housing support and sober living housing. So really the program, he's there for 28 days, but the case management does not stop.
So I don't think that Mr. DeSalle's best chance for success is going to be to ever return to New Orleans personally.
No, I don't want to come back to New Orleans. That's not where I want to be. No, man. That's how I got in this trouble in the first place.
Yeah, he doesn't need to, sorry, Mr. DeSalle.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to return to New Orleans. It's really just that they have the resources all around Louisiana, but most clients, they do end up staying on or near the facility so that they have direct access to their caseworkers, their therapists, their whole community, right? And they provide sober living options, and they provide employment training.
I defer to my colleagues at this time.
Okay, I have a few questions, Bara, if you don't mind, I'll go before you. Okay, first off, Mr. DeSalle, what's very, very, very concerning is you've had the best programs that we have to offer. They haven't worked. I mean, you went to Steve Hall, you went through the impact,
Yes, sir.
that you went back to drugs.
Well, no, this time.
tell me this time that's gonna make me feel like you're not gonna go back to drugs again?
I'm not trying to, sir, I'm not trying to go back to drugs. I've given up drugs. I'm trying to find a job that I can work successfully and keep that job and get my own place that I want to live in, that I don't have to, I can be by myself and get out of the city. I haven't been struggling with drugs as I've been struggling with homelessness and not being able to find a job. That's what I've been struggling with.
Yeah, that, but drugs is your main problem. You're not gonna ever find a job unless you get rid of the drugs.
I got rid of the drugs. I just did 4 years. I've only been out for 4 months. I haven't been doing the drugs. I've been trying to find a job. I don't have any money or support. That's why I had no concern on doing drugs. I'm done with the drugs, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Barr?
Y'all covered.
You covered. Okay, is the panel ready to vote?
I am. Mr. DeSalle, first of all, I appreciate your brief stint in the military and do recognize that you are a veteran. I do believe that homelessness is your biggest issue. Based on the information that I've received, I believe that you were not involved in the altercation, Mr. Gunn. You're a fourth felony offender, and Mr. Freeman is correct. You've been through programs, so I don't think going to another program incarcerated is going to help. My vote is going to be in lieu of revocation to send you, well, I can't do that because it has to be. So my vote is to do not revoke, but you must go to Broken Wings as a special condition. You go there for the duration of that program, and then you follow any outpatient treatment plan that they request. And while I cannot mandate it, I strongly suggest that you not return to Orleans Parish, and that Broken Wings establishes a strong connection with your probation officer. And my vote is to do not revoke.
Mr. Barra?
I'm gonna concur on that and vote to reinstate your parole. But added a special condition to what she said about Broken Wings, random drug screens and AA and NA meetings once a week.
Yes, sir.
And understand that you done had all the chances you're gonna get as a fourth offender.
Yeah.
You come back, you're doing time.
I know, and I
No matter
know.
who you bring with you to say they're gonna help
Yeah,
you.
I was gonna say, don't worry about next time, ladies, because it won't happen next.
So make sure you get the message.
Yes,
The last chance. You asked for one, they did a good job setting you up. If you don't take advantage of it, you got nobody to blame but you.
I know.
All right.
Okay, and, well, I'm gonna tell you, against my better judgment, I'm gonna vote the same. I'm gonna vote the same. This is your last shot, man. And the homelessness, I understand it, but the drugs is the problem.
I'm done with the drug.
Okay, all right, so today the vote is do not revoke, for you to go to Broken Wings. You to leave from the jail to go to Broken Wing, you to complete the 28-day program and follow any recommended treatment. Make sure that you get in touch with your probation officer once you get to Broken Wings, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank y'all. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr.
Thank you so much. I'll call them.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
And I don't have any information to unpack to bring any value here. So for those of you who are only looking for the facts, I'm sorry. I asked, of course, Lady Holly did her research. I even wrote Sir Richard. I also wanted to get Sir Richard's opinion on this case because Sir Richard, for those of you who don't know, was a submariner. He was in the subs. He was in nuclear submarines, and he was I forget the official title, but it's a nuclear engineer. He worked on the nuclear engine thingy mabobble, which if you want to look it up, that is one of the more prestigious roles that you can get in the Navy. You got to have a big brain for it. And And what's really weird is that Sir Richard's, I think, 6'7", which makes no sense. I asked him, where did he said he slept on the floor. They had no cots for him. And can you imagine that? He always had to be ducking like this. And he was seriously injured in a nuclear really disaster in the submarine. I don't know. I don't really have the details. I should really dive into it more, but there was an issue, and he suffers till this day. His illness that we always talk about, where he's losing his eyesight and he has problems with surgeries and all these things till to this day, was from the fallout of that, from the radiation. And for those of you who don't know, Lady Holly was wounded in combat in Afghanistan. She's a squadron leader out of Australia, which is like the similar rank to Major. And she took indirect fire, hit her arm. She kept going for a year, by the way, until infection took place. And now she doesn't have use of her right arm. And so these are the two people who are doing the research and support and advice and advisement. And I asked Sir Richard about this case. I'm bringing this up because of the PTSD thing. And I want to say I have not joined. I am not military. I am, and I get this can be a loaded statement, but when I work every day with people like Sir Richard and Lady Holly with one arm, who's doing all this research and data entry with one hand using a phone, Sir Richard, who is legally blind and gets around in a wheelchair, it feels like the PTSD thing is just I think that we're going to go in a turn. It's gotten to the point where you hear it for everything, and it's like you'll hear it for someone who nearly lost her arm in Afghanistan. Actually, you won't hear it from her. I've never heard her use those words. I've never heard Sir Richard use those words. But there are those who like, okay, yeah, that's like when I grew up hearing the word PTSD, it was okay, you went into Iraq and you got PTSD from combat, and now you hear it for everything. You really hear it for everything. If there's someone who is 600 pounds, never hasn't left their living room in 38 years, and they'll say they're diagnosed with PTSD because of something that happened to them when they were 16 years old or whatever. And it's I don't know. I had to get this stuff off my chest because I feel like we've gone to this extreme, and I think we're going to come back, and it's going to be unacceptable to just say it. Now, he was in the submarine corps for 2 years. Sir Richard's like, hey, it's hard to get in the submarine corps. They do deep mental evaluation tests. To get in is not a simple thing. But it feels like in this sense also it was just a word thrown out way too loosely. It's like you had a negative drug screen. You got other than dishonorably discharged, which is, I guess, the second, you weren't honorably discharged, you weren't dishonorably, it's other than honorable. And then you go and say, oh, I have PTSD from it, from being in a crowded submarine. Not saying I could last 1 second in a crowded submarine. I'm not saying that I couldn't, but it's just, I don't know. I'm happy to stand corrected here. I'm happy to get a smackdown for saying it, but it's something I feel like I just had to say, and I think that a lot of us are feeling too. And I actually wrote Sir Richard an email, and he just wrote me back because I wanted to get his insight on it. I said, his attorney claimed he served from 2005 at age 18. While serving, he spent his time on a crowded sub. He was discharged in 2007. And can I get your feedback? Like, what's the deal with that? He just wrote back a minute ago, so I'll include it in the unpacking. I was waiting for so he says, laughing my ass off. The only situation which would fit this scenario would be that the following 2 months of boot camp, if you have no technical skills, you'd be assigned to some random ship where they can figure out if you have any talent and await some school. Generally, the waiting for a list for sub school is at least 6 months, and nukes and torpedo men are prioritized with generic swabbies at the bottom of that list. A patrol on a missile sub is a minimum of 3 months, and fast attacks are 9 months plus plus plus, unless they happen to be in the yard undergoing an overhaul, which could take up a couple of years depending upon the complexities of the conversation or refueling, during which commands do require crew to berth aboard, especially if CO is a bit of an asshole. Fast attacks are not as large as missile, and defense could feel crowded. But to be honest, I would have thought more apart term would have been confining or claustrophobic. Question. Now, 2005 was pre-Obama, so Sir Richard gets into politics. And following 9/11, there was a big push to get submariners, but that only applied to be specialized technical rates and not swab jockeys. So he still would have had to score high on psych tests. And like I said, I've never met anyone on subs who is so weak-minded as to not to be able to compartmentalize and thus affected by PTSD. The pre-screening is rather extensive. I don't know if Sir Richard is saying that those who have PTSD are weak-minded. I don't want to take that out of context. The pre-screening is rather extensive, which I'm sure your grandpa could attest to. Being a newbie, I'm sure he got hazed like hell, and just as we all did. And if he was naive and fell for it, I'm sure it got more and more intense. So other than the bullying, I can't think of anything that he would have been subjected to which would qualify as PTSD unless he had a weakness and let people know about it. That's an interesting insight. So, I mean, he's viewing it a little bit differently. Sir Richard's more like saying, like, what would have caused the PTSD? I think what he's saying is, like, the submarines, it's not going to be that crowded that it would cause PTSD. And anyways, they do the evaluations. And what else would have caused it? Maybe it was a lot of hazing. Interesting. I didn't even think about the hazing. That didn't even cross my mind. So anyways, I know we got off tangent, and I always get nervous even talk off tangent like this, but okay. Do you think we're going to see him again? I have a feeling that we will. I just don't buy it. I know he's got the support there. I was impressed that his attorney was meeting for 3 months every 2 weeks. So often we'll hear them say, "Oh, I've been meeting with him," and I'm happy that Miss Lidu asked. And but I don't. And I wonder if when she said, I think she was about to recommend him to Steve Hoyle, and then she says, "Oh no, we can't," because I think they stopped legally being allowed to do that, which makes a lot of sense. But there you have it, with 2 revocation hearings, both struggling, and one stays in prison, the other gets out. Both were accused of stabbing someone. One was said, no, it wasn't you, it was a mistake. The other, I don't know, they kind of didn't mention it. But it is still, it's interesting because on the face of it, they sound like very similar cases if you were just to write it, but when you see it, it's still very different. And isn't that the thing? That's the thing about covering these parole hearings. Before everything was up on and we can cover it and record it and create a documentary sort of style hearing of it, it would just be in a transcript, and you can't get the same thing from the transcript versus seeing it. Now really, in this case, I don't know how the parole board ignored the way that this guy was like swinging around and moving around. I mean, you would think they would have said, "Are you on something? Should we test you?" I mean, they did that once before. Do you remember that guy? That was the funniest hearing. The guy did show up, definitely blitz out of his mind, and the parole board called him out on it. They said, Miss Renata said, we should have you tested. Talking about that, I should bring up Miss Renata. From the first hearing especially, she's funny. I like her. I know I give her crap and stuff, but the way that she handles these hearings, from the first guy, he's like, "Bed bugs. My name's Bob." And he's like moving around. Mr. Ross just doesn't skip a beat. She's like, "Okay, let's go ahead." Oh, shit. I mean, there's something about her. You know, she's been around the system a long time. She was like assistant warden at Angola in like the 80s. Crazy stuff. Anyways, with that, I'll let you go.